The storm came in just after dusk, rolling over the open plains like a dark wave swallowing the last scraps of sunlight. On most nights, the Baxter Ranch lay washed in blue shadows and cricket song, but tonight the rain hit the tin roof of the auction barn in hard, angry sheets that made the place feel more like a bunker than a gathering hall. Inside, the livestock auction had ended hours ago. The crowds were gone. Only a few ranch hands lingered, sweeping sawdust, stacking chairs, shutting down generators. And in the very back corner, a man named Cole Hargreaves waited alone. Cole wasn't the type to stay anywhere long. He'd spent most of his life drifting, 2 years on a fishing crew in Alaska, a handful of months on an oil field, a stint fixing fences in Nevada. His boots carried the dirt of a dozen states, and people could never quite tell if he was running from something or just searching for something he hadn't yet found. But tonight, he wasn't moving. He leaned against a steel post, one thumb hooked into his belt, eyes fixed on the old wooden desk where Baxter himself counted the last of the auction money. "Still here?" Baxter grunted without looking up. His voice carried the gravel of 60 years under the sun. "Didn't peg you for the lingering type." "I'm waiting," Cole said quietly. Baxter snapped the cash box shut. "She's in the back stall, same as before. You've paid your $1. Papers are signed. She's yours." Cole nodded once and walked down the narrow hallway, boots echoing against the concrete floor. Rain hammered the roof. A strip light flickered overhead. When he reached the last stall on the left, he stopped. Inside sat a young woman, thin, shivering, hair plastered to her cheeks from earlier rain. She wore a faded dress too light for the cold and hugged her knees as though trying to disappear into herself. She didn't look up when he appeared. "You ready?" Cole asked. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "Please, just make it quick." Something like pain crossed his face, almost too fast to catch. He opened the stall door, not stepping closer, just giving her room. "You're not here to die," he said. "Not tonight. Not with me." At that, she finally lifted her head, eyes wide, wet, mistrustful. "Then why buy me at all?" He hesitated. The truth wasn't simple, and even if it were, he wasn't the type to spill it all at once. "Because if I hadn't," he said, "someone else would have. Someone who would have made good on what you're afraid of." Her breath hitched. She looked away again, hugging herself tighter. Her name, he knew from the paperwork, was Willa Dane. 22. Born in Larkspur County, raised on a failing farm. No criminal record. No debts, at least not hers. But her father had owed money to people who didn't believe in mercy, and when the debt came due, Willa was the only thing they could sell. Cole crouched outside the stall, resting his arms on his knees. "I'm taking you with me because you needed a way out." "You don't even know me," she whispered. "Maybe not. But I know what it's like to need a door that isn't there yet." Willa closed her eyes. Silent tears slipped down her cheeks. "What happens now?" "That depends," Cole said. "You can stay here, hope someone decent finds you before someone else does. Or you can come with me. I don't own you. That $1 was just a formality to get you out the door." She studied him through swollen eyes, as if trying to read the truth in the lines of his face. Cole had the look of a man who'd been knocked down more than once but still stood because he didn't know what else to do. Something about that steadiness eased the tightness in her chest. "Why help me?" Willa asked. Cole exhaled slowly. Rain rattled on the roof like distant gunfire. "Because somebody once helped me. And I didn't think I'd ever get a chance to return the favor." For a long moment, neither moved. Then Willa pushed herself unsteadily to her feet. Her legs wobbled, but she kept her chin level. "Okay," she said. "I'll go." Cole rose, opening the stall wide. Willa stepped out cautiously, half expecting him to grab her, but he only handed her his coat. She slipped it over her shoulders, surprised by the warmth, by the scent, cedar, tobacco, and something faintly sweet. "Truck's out back," he said. They walked down the hallway toward the service door. The storm had eased only a little, and the wind tugged at the building like impatient fingers. When they stepped outside, the cold slapped hard. Willa flinched, but Cole guided her quickly to his truck, a beat-up blue Chevy with more years than shine. He opened the passenger door and helped her in without touching her more than absolutely necessary. Once inside, with the heater groaning to life, Willa curled into the coat like a small animal seeking shelter. Cole drove steadily down the gravel road, headlights slicing through darkness. "Where are we going?" she asked after a minute. "Safe place." "Where?" "Cabin I rent on the North Ridge. Nobody knows about it except me. And now you." That's not dangerous." "Only if you think I am." She studied his profile. He kept his gaze on the road, jaw tight, posture controlled. A dangerous man wouldn't need to reassure her, he would have taken advantage already. Something told her Cole Hargreaves wasn't built that way. Still, fear clung to her like a second skin. "You don't have to trust me," Cole said, as though reading her thoughts. "You just have to stay alive until you figure out your next move. And after that?" "After that," he said softly, "you walk away if you want. I won't stop you." The road twisted up into the hills. The lights of town disappeared behind them. Gradually, Willa's shaking eased, replaced by exhaustion so deep it hollowed her bones. She'd been terrified for so long, weeks, months, that the idea of even brief safety felt unreal. By the time they reached the cabin, a small wooden place tucked beneath tall pines, she could barely keep her eyes open. Cole parked outside, grabbed a lantern from the back seat, and led her to the porch. The cabin's interior was simple: wood stove, narrow cot, worn table, stack of firewood by the wall. "I'll sleep outside," he said immediately. "You take the bed." Her eyes widened. "Outside? In this storm? I've slept through worse." "But..." "Willa," he said, voice firm but gentle. "You're safe. That's the whole point." She swallowed hard, nodding. He showed her where the blankets were, how to latch the door, how to stoke the stove if the fire went low. Then, without lingering, he stepped back outside with a spare sleeping bag. Willa closed the door behind him, hands trembling. She slid down until she sat on the wooden floor, listening to the rain, the crackle of the stove, the thumping of her heart. She wasn't sure she should trust him. Trust was a luxury she hadn't earned back yet. But she also couldn't deny the truth: she was alive because of him. Hours later, she drifted into sleep. She woke before dawn to the sound of footsteps on the porch. Panic spiked, until she remembered where she was. When she cracked the door open, Cole was sitting on the top step, coat pulled tight, boots muddy, watching the horizon as early gray light crept across the sky. "You should be inside," she said quietly. "I'm fine." "You'll freeze." He chuckled. "Not likely." Willa stepped onto the porch, holding the blanket around herself. "Thank you," she whispered. Cole shook his head. "You don't owe me anything." "Maybe not. But no one's protected me in a long time." He didn't respond right away. Then he asked, "What do you want to do now?" I don't know." Her voice cracked. "I can't go back. Not ever. They'll just sell me again. Or worse." Cole nodded. "Then you won't go back. I'll get you someplace better. Could be another county. Could be another state. You'd do that for me?" "I told you," he said quietly, "someone once did the same for me." Willa hesitated, then sat beside him. The morning was cold, but the fear inside her had receded slightly, leaving a cautious hope. "What happened to you?" she asked. Cole kept his eyes on the horizon.